It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Mariam. Longe, how are you?
Fine, thank you. There's something wrong with my chair. I feel a lot too shorter today, like I'm on the ground. But yeah, in church, we were talking about Noah and his 3 sons, and then they tried to show us how we're descendants of Noah. And remember one of the sons of Noah that saw his father naked? He's the dark-skinned one. Who is the black one? Who his descendants were cursed. So where is Africa? Where Africa is coming from? But they were like, no, but our own, where we are coming from, we're not the ones that were cursed. It's the Canaanites that were cursed. I was like, ha.
Very confusing.
Now I'm just thinking, you see this Bible thing. Are you sure from the very beginning they were not trying to make us seem like we're, just cursed and we should accept that? And the people who are light-skinned, they are working under grace because they've never been cursed. I did not like it. Yesterday was hard to swallow. Like, I don't know. I don't like this message.
We are enlightened now, so we look at things differently. Question things. How are you doing, Tokwe? Did you cut your hair?
No, it's
shrunk.
shrinkage. Yeah, no, I wanted to. So I'm going to do my hair today.
Braids?
No. Packing gel, and I don't want to put any product, so I just washed and left it, and I did not know how I'm going to style it on the show, so we...
All the colors have gone.
Yes, I trim out the colors. I think maybe like next year, I'll go back and put a bit more color, but putting color on my hair ensures that I don't get to be very, very long as the hair can be, but we're having fun. With natural hair, we'll be fine. All road leads to Benin, Yeah, we'll be fine.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yesterday, I went to drop my kids off to boarding.
Nice.
Their father was feeling very bad, but I had to tell him, I said, don't worry. These kids, they need the experience. Let them, at least we'll be seeing them every weekend. And I'm also getting ready for the trade fair starting this Friday.
Yay!
Yeah, so all road leads to Tafawa Balewa Square.
Oh, nice. Please, that's before you cook to allow your husband to agree, please. Because my husband has not agreed. I want my kids to go to boarding. At least Elizabeth, I would like...
therefore I cooked.
I know.
It was the energy to make
the
tell
I will learn
it. You have the energy to make
because honestly, I need that recipe, honestly. But yeah, I mean, same thing. My own pastor over the weekend was, he conscripted me to read the media. I know I hate being on. I do TV already. For me, that's enough publicity. I don't even need extra at all. I like to just stay in church and just mind my business.
Yeah.
But he just drafted me and got me to go and say the news on. It was okay. I'm hoping he won't do it again.
If you do well, be sure.
They all great.
Results for good work is more work.
Yes.
So let's go on a quick break now. When we come back, we'll look at the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Business obstacles to go. Tinubu assures investors. Explosion rocks Rivers House of Assembly complex. Naira pressure eases on $10 billion forex inflows prospect. Illegal fishing to threat to blue economy. A threat to blue economy. Boats with 100 on board capsizes in Taraba. NLC threatens boycott of today's review meeting with federal government. Why modular refinery operators can't access bank loans. Okay, which story are we starting with? Do I do the major headline?
Okay, go ahead.
So, our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yesterday met with the visiting German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz. He was speaking yesterday and saying that far-reaching economic reforms are being undertaken by the federal government to provide enabling environments for return on investment for all who are working with Nigeria. He is specifically saying that he's friends with Olaf Scholz and that he's hoping that they, who are the biggest economy in Europe, working with Nigeria, which is the biggest economy in Africa, can do great things to build the economy of both countries. Scholz in Nigeria, first leg of his African tour was visiting Nigeria first, which is great. From here, he's going to Ghana. And the two leaders had a meeting, and then they just discussed all the various partnerships, that he has removed all the obstacles that he could possibly have an investment, that he's inviting him and various investors within Germany to come to Nigeria and work, and every single issue they might have has been eased out for them so they wouldn't have any obstacles going forward. We said you might also read that we've removed subsidy. We're going through a tax reform to eliminate double taxation and give you better returns on investments. Thereby, you ensure investments are protected. So we'll see how that goes.
Yes, so today NLC is supposed to be having a meeting with the federal government and Labour to review the Memorandum of Understanding signed to prevent the October 3 planned strike. And they are saying that this meeting is threatened. So the NLC President, Joe Ajero, said yesterday that if the Labour Minister, Simon Lalong, shows up at the venue, his people will boycott the meeting. Oh. And, I will give the reasons later. And he also said that the meeting is held at the office of the Chief of Staff to the President. And, this is also reaffirming there's also a planned strike that will be happening in Imo State starting from 1st, which is a Wednesday, over unpaid wages and other alleged anti-labor practices. But we heard now that the National Industrial Court in Owerri issued an extended interim injunction restraining Labour from embarking on the strike. So the presiding admin judge also was the one that adjourned the meeting till Friday so that they will have a hearing in court in terms of a settlement. But NLC is accusing Simon Lalong of plotting to thwart the agreements reached with the federal government. And one of the agreements that is in question is the resolution of the crisis rocking the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW. And NLC is accusing the minister of siding with a faction of the NURTW leadership. And they are saying that if this meeting holds today and he shows up, they are going to be boycotting the meeting. They also accuse him of other things, that he's not really involved in what the federal government is planning to do for them. So there's no need for him to show up in that meeting. And if the meeting doesn't hold properly today, that means from 1st, which is on Wednesday, there will be a nationwide strike. Okay.
Any other story, Nation?
Yes. We've all been concerned about why modular refineries are not working. A lot of license had been given out for a few years now, and the modular refinery operators have decided to publicize why they have been unable to access the loans they need to be able to function properly. They are an executive member group of the Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria. And they told the Nation yesterday that banks are hesitant to finance the operations. The PIA bill was meant to make it easy for people to be able to enjoy, for us to enjoy the benefits of the fact that we produce crude oil, but it hasn't fully kicked in. And the crucial part is if the NUPRC, that's the Nigerian Upstream Regulation Commission, doesn't give them a document guaranteeing that there will be supplied crude oil, the banks will not give them funds.
Yeah, you have to formalize them properly.
And those people are not willing to give them a guaranteed document saying, we'll give you the crude oil you need. So they won't get them, they're not assured of getting crude oil. Also, they're not assured of getting crude oil in Naira. So Nigeria wants to sell crude oil in dollars to local Nigerians that want to refine in Nigeria. It cannot work. So where would they get the dollar from? So there are a lot of policies that the PIA on paper looked amazing. We all celebrated it. Sadly, 2 years after, we still haven't fully implemented it. And we have many people who have paid to get the license to put up crude oil in Nigeria. I mean, refineries, modular refinery in Nigeria, they put their money into it, and yet they are not guaranteed from the government side what
So we'd like to hear from the government exactly what's delaying this. Let's move on quickly now to the Punch. Labour blames government officials and meets federal government today. Picture here, German Chancellor visits Tinubu, gives ECOWAS it's 1 million euros for security and others. Lagos visits demolition of Ikoyi structures near drainage. Importers return to parallel markets as Naira rebounds. FG seeks speedy delivery of Turkish attack helicopters. Afrexim Bank, Fidelity Bank, and John Vett seal $40 million cocoa deal. And challenging PNID fraud saved Nigeria $15 billion, says Buhari. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Yes, so the Lagos State government will today begin removal of perimeter fences within 2 meters of drainage channels on the Norman Williams, Awolowo and Ribadu roads in the Ikoyi area of the state.
Hey, Norman Williams.
The Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources says that the exercise comes after the expiration of the grace period that has been given to property owners in the affected areas. And they are so, they said that the level of compliance has been poor, since they give them that grace period. So they have to go ahead in demolishing those perimeter fences on those drainages.
Tornado Wahab. We said Hurricane Wiki in Lagos. We have tornado Wahab is the one that is getting our waterways.
That's like near that Glover area. That's
like the cream de la cream.
That's the height of the
expensive.
That's the creamest of the creamest. Hey, Uncle Wahab, God is your muscle.
Most expensive real estate in Africa.
Yeah,
probably.
Okay, well, let's.
So because you took my story, I'm going to take another one inside the
German Chancellor.
That's what you took.
But I didn't talk about 8 million pounds. Talk about the 8 million pounds that he's
It's the same thing. It's part of it.
Go ahead.
I've given the story, but I found another one. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, started a market sensitization ahead of unveiling the Iyaloja money, a federal government non-interest loan to be given to market women and petty traders across the country. And, they are going to be paying it to them. So they've earmarked about 109 markets across the senatorial zones in Nigeria. And they'll be paying, I think it's 50,000 naira without any form of interest to be paid back. So they'll pay them and they'll support them. This is one of the plans that the president has to alleviate poverty, especially amongst the vulnerable people. So let's see how this money gets across to them, what they use the money for, and how they're able to pay back.
So Fidelity Bank, I love the fact that the MD is a woman. Director Mrs. Nneka Onyeli Ikpe. And Afrexim Bank with John Vance Industries have signed a $40 million cocoa export deal at the Fidelity Bank International Trade and Creative Connect Health that was held in Houston, United States. According to this public relations officer, they said that the loan will be provided by Afrexim Bank, with Fidelity Bank acting as a local administrative agent. The MD, the managing director, Mrs. Nneka Onyeli Ikpe, said that we're delighted to participate in the tripartite loan signing ceremony. Demonstrates the size of the opportunity in Nigeria cocoa market and its potential to meet the demands of U.S. off-takers. So this deal will be able to create some kind of a pipeline between Nigeria and the U.S. for exportation of cocoa, which is, I think, is enormous for us.
We don't want to export cocoa. We want to export refined,
so
processed.
So
that they'll stop cheating us.
Okay, good. But this deal, please, the deal is $40 million deal, and it's going to help us to also have off-takers in the EU, which I think is a good thing. We need the much-needed dollar.
Yeah, anything that brings us
the dollar right now is important.
Sad story still from the Israeli Hamas crisis. About 10,000 people have died between the civil unrest over the past 3 weeks. According to Hamas, about 8,000 people have died on the Gaza Strip side, including about 3,000 children. And on the Israeli side, 8,400 people were killed and 230 have been kidnapped. The bigger challenge is the fact that it is now taking a new dimension. People within the Gaza area are attacking the UN relief agencies where they have, like, the same way it happens in Nigeria where palliative is being looted. Yes, they've gone to the warehouse in the central town of there, and they have the place used to store humanitarian convoys crossing from Gaza to Egypt, and they've broken into a lot of the UN relief agency materials, and they've taken most of those things. They took the fuel, medicine, food over the past few days. So it's not just about the fact that there's now the fight happening, but within the places where there might be seemingly peaceful area, they are now even attacking each other within the Gaza Strip. So the UN is asking for help and calling for calm within the areas.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the papers. Moving on now to Daily Sun. Concerns over economy rise. CBN goes after erring banks. FG moves to facilitate speedy delivery of attack helicopters to NAF. Tinubu won battle but must work hard to win the war, says mascot Uzo Kalu. FG Labour meet over fuel subsidy agreement. NDLA nabs Hong Kong, France-bound businessmen at Abuja airport for ingesting cocaine, heroin. Nigeria crawling but determined to change narrative, Tinubu assures. And reps propose life imprisonment for kidnapping and hostage taking. Okay, which story are we starting with?
NDLA.
Yes,
so
please.
they announced that they arrested 2 businessmen at the international airport in Abuja with consignments of cocaine and heroin. One was going to Hong Kong and France. It was in their belly. So when they were arrested, this scan revealed ingested illicit drug. One of them excreted in detention 72 wraps of heroin. I mean, when we say the word, in fact, I don't know if the paper did it deliberately, but they blurred the word excreted. And then Chidike discharged 49 pellets of cocaine. Chidike claims he's a businessman selling spare parts in Alaba International Market. He was supposed to take this, and they were supposed to give him 3.5 million naira, which he intended to import goods from Hong Kong. Anyway, you know, in the same vein, all across the country, NDLA is doing its job. I just also wanted to highlight the advocacy campaign of the group. They call it War Against Drug Abuse. They said they've continued in equal measure in schools. So they're going to schools, markets, worship places, and other places across the country in the past week. They said they have a town hall sensitization lecture in collaboration with Kano and Jigawa commands of the agency for 108 principals of secondary schools in the Dutse Emirate. So, you know, in places like Ebonyi, secondary schools in Afiko, you know, different places across the state, in Oyo State as well. So this is the advocacy arm of it, sensitization, bringing awareness to different people. So it's important, you know, as they're arresting them, we're also teaching people and hoping, you know, you catch them young with the right message before they make the mistake of getting arrested as drug mules and drug dealers.
Yeah, so the House of Representatives is proposing life imprisonment without option of fine for anyone convicted of kidnapping and hostage taking in the country. Now they are saying that if the kidnap or hostage taking results in the death of the victim, the offense shall attract a death penalty. The House is also proposing that any property owner who knowingly allows his premises to be used for kidnapping shall be convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment and the property forfeited to the federal government. The proposals were contained in a bill sponsored by a member representing Ughelli North, Ughelli South, Idu Federal Constituency of Delta, Francis Waive. And it sort of, you know, covered every... So sometimes when we have kidnapping and the person is found, we always focus on the person who had done the kidnapping. But now this bill is covering everything, every aspect, you know, like it works like it's a team, like the teamwork, everybody who's involved in different aspects, whether it's the landlord or whether it's the bank official who exposes the financial details to the kidnapper would also go to jail, and whether the person who is living in the compound who sees or who knows or who suspects and doesn't come out to say anything will also go to jail. So it really covers everything, and it's past the first reading. Remaining the second reading. I think people should read up on this particular article and see what this bill is about.
Okay, let me take... the CBN is beaming its searchlight on commercial banks and gathering intelligence on sanctions and sanctioning those who are hoarding forex. I mean, many have seen the artificial demand for... because of these banks are hoarding dollar. According to this report by Daily Sun, the Naira tumbled last weekend to 1,316 to the dollar across the country. And Bureau d'Exchange operators concluding that there are no convincing signs that it's not going to get better. And so CBN is going after many banks, saying that many of them are hoarding this forex. Sources said that the new generation banks is currently under probe. A substantial amount of forex has been tucked away in their offshore branches. Bureau d'Exchange operators also accuse the banks of hoarding forex to sell at cutthroat rates in the future. The hoarding of forex by banks is fueling artificial scarcity and continued rise in dollar rate against the naira. Some banks are speculating purchase from the I&E windows, selling for profits in parallel markets. So they're keeping it.
How about our VIPs that have vaults in their house that they've buried dollars in their... So how do we check those?
So CBN is chasing the ones that he can check under his own jurisdiction, which is the banks.
First of all.
They let EFCC, let other people go and chase the private people, but these banks are under their own purview and they're chasing them.
Anyway, IPOB is speaking out. Ima Powerful, who is the spokesperson for IPOB, was saying that following the recent exoneration of IPOB by the court, they are asking the federal government to also remove the label that they feel was misplaced on them, that they are not a terrorist group, they are a pro-Biafran agitation group, and that they are calling on, they always address AU, EU, USA, Russia, Amnesty International, everybody come and support them to get, this is our agitation, we are not a terrorist group, and they're asking that the government should go to court where they have already petitioned an appeal for the prescription to be taken out.
Yes, they won that case last week. High Court Imo State actually had...
has given them...
Yeah, they won that case.
That's necessary.
Federal government might appeal, though.
Yes.
See how that goes, but in the meantime, they need to be given the right name. Moving on now to Vanguard. Let's see how much time we have left. Just a few minutes. Halt. Fall in naira value, NLC, TUC, NECA tells federal government. Net foreign exchange inflow falls 54% to $7.29 billion in H1 2023. Varsity lecturer killed in Niger State. In Niger, actually. Oyo government files appeal against removal of Shaun. Tinubu ACF orders mourn as Ohinoyi of Iberaland dies at 95. Fidelity Bank boosts Nigeria's non-oil exports with FITCC Houston. Tinubu to German leader, we want to change weak economic narratives. And Minister of Foreign Missions to enroll over return date. Okay, which story?
The ministers are in row over return date. The ministers and foreign missions. The minister
ambassadors and
the minister for foreign affairs, Ambassador Yusufu Tuga, had said that everyone that is working with the Nigerian missions should be returned back to Nigeria by October 31st. However, the envoys are appealing to our President Bola Tinubu that he should give them till December so that their wards, that their children can write their promotion exam, and consequently streamline the academic challenges that they would be facing for dropping out that they might be facing based on dropping out from the academic year. They are appealing that the president should just give a nod for that extension till December 31st instead of terminating them on the 31st of October, which is, according to the Minister for Foreign Affairs, a sacrosanct date that everybody should come back. And the minister is really, they say, is irked by the envoy. They are irked by the minister's stand to not allow them to stay till December. They feel that he's not being sensitive to their appeal, that they are asking for education, and that it shouldn't have to be a serious showdown, which is what the minister is saying would happen if there's education. I don't know if there's more to the story. Why is the minister insisting? If there's something else going on, because every normal person that reads this story will feel like, let them finish their academic year. But if there is more to the story, the minister should give so that they don't mislabel the ministers being a stickler for rule of law to mean something else entirely.
Okay, let me take the Oyo State government has filed an appeal challenging the court ruling that invalidated the selection and installation of Oba Gandhi Olaoye as a Shaun of Ogbomosho land. If you recall, the court had said it was illegal. The selection process to selecting him was wrong and it was null and void, and they were asked to stop him from being shown. However, the government themselves, as the Oyo State government, have instituted an appeal to challenge this judgment according to the application for stay of execution pending the hearing of the determination of the appeal defendants applicants against the judgment of the Court of Appeal, Ibadan Judicial High Court. The application is seeking for an order from the court restraining the complainants and others from preventing them from taking any step further, as the judgment is still being on right now. Okay, any other story in Vanguard? Okay, let's move on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story we've not taken. Oyo government appeals Shaun, I just took that story. Nadeko to Tinubu implement APC El-Rufai recommendations on restructuring and power devolution. Boat with over 70 passengers capsized in Taraba. Reps moved to give legal backing to artisanal petroleum refineries. CNG vehicles, FG inaugurates Lagos pilot conversion centers. 2 men suffocate inside diesel tank in Kano. I directed Kyari Malami to fight $15 billion payment to PNID, says Buhari. Any story in...
Yes, in Taraba State, they said over 80 passengers capsized in a boat mishap. You know, they said at the time of the report, about 12 people have been recovered by fishermen. Although the police is saying that they do not have an official number of how many people were involved in the accident. But, you know, we'll wait for that. But obviously, it seems like a large number of people. They said that they were on their way from the market, and then midway through the Benue River on Saturday evening, this is when it happened, attributing it to these people not wearing any life jackets when this happened. Probably also overloading of the boat as well. As you know, this is almost become like a, you know, a regular occurrence in Nigeria, boat accidents across the country. Some weeks ago, we had about 40 passengers that had from Niger to Kebbi State capsized. Last month, 26 people died in a boat mishap in Niger State, while another 15 died in a similar accident in Adamawa State. Same story, overloaded boats, no life jackets, and no following the navigation rules. So those are the things that, you know, we just hope our people would learn, you know, and then we put systems in place to make sure that people do not endanger their lives this way.
Yeah, we lost 2 other men who were trapped in a diesel tank. This happened in Kano, Katsina Road in Kano. So they said they were actually employed to clean the diesel tank. By the time they got in there, they suffocated. They were trapped inside the tank. Before people realized it and came to rescue them, they had lost their lives already.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review this morning. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of today. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So the House of Representative member from Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Clement Jimbo, has said that henceforth, he would no longer give out money to his constituents for financial obligations such as burials, birthday parties, or weddings, etc. Mr. Jimbo, representing Abak Etim Ekwo and the Federal Constituency, announced this in his post on Facebook. And he says all financial solicitation for burial is hereby suspended till further notice. Please bear with me. Now, we've had this conversation a few times where lawmakers have continually said that many people within their constituents always come to them for one thing or the other. Either their parents have died, they need burial, money for burial ceremony, or their children are getting married, or they're having their 80th, the landmark birthday, you know, you must be there, you do Ashwebi, the whole works. And lawmakers feel that sense of obligation. But this man from Akwa Ibom State is saying, please, I'm not doing it again. We'll now have that conversation with what happened with the former chairman of EFCC, Abdurrashid Bawa, when he came home, and everybody in his community was celebrating him. He was so excited. And we sort of saw the benefits somewhat of those of you that give back to your community. Maybe they don't care how you got the money. As long as you are paying school fees here, you are giving money here, they will say you will receive the celebration. Either you break law or not break law, you are a criminal or not criminal. Once you come home and you meet your constituents, they will receive you in open arms. So when politicians or appointees are faced with these kind of situations, what's the best approach? Do you completely focus on the work you've been appointed to do, or find a way to meet the financial obligations of your constituents, so that when anything happens to you, God forbid you go and get in trouble with the law, still receive it of once? What are your thoughts? I mean, this is just a conversation. You can call us on 764167980809024163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. And on YouTube, we'll be willing to read from you. Takwa, you want to start? What are your thoughts on this man from Akwa Ibom saying that he doesn't want to pay burial ceremony anymore?
Okay, I don't know why he's picking out burial ceremony because this week is me. I'm doing burial ceremony this week. And
did you ask him for money?
I did not ask him for money,
but other politicians
I would appreciate if people are supporting, and we are grateful for the support we've gotten. I think that as a society, we're a society that we're very communal. We help one another where there is need, and we look up to people that we feel are better off than us to see if they can support us in our times of need. So I don't see anything wrong with somebody. No, I don't believe in asking. I believe that generally, if you have a community, the community should naturally rally around you to support you at the time when you have a need. Most of other occasions are usually planned. Burials are never really planned. You don't plan for when somebody will die. And so I can understand why the need for funding burial can come up. However, when we rely on politicians, we're putting undue pressure on them that will distract them from their primary assignment. And in most cases, the primary assignment now becomes, how do I keep my constituents happy so I can get re-elected, as opposed to delivering dividends of democracy and speaking up for my constituents. This distraction, they don't need. This distraction is one of the reasons why we cannot complain. And it also portrays the kind of constituents that we have, constituents that feel like I'm going to judge my lawmaker based on how generous he has been to us as a community, as opposed to how well he has defended us as a community, how well he has represented us. It is the money that he contributes to the community that is used to gauge if he was effective or not. And if we continue with that system, it will not work. So I'm all for this guy shouting out on national television, on print media, so you will all know, get the memo. I will work for you. I will not contribute financially to you, sorting out your basic needs. I think that it's a good thing. Let's see more people do that, and then we start changing the narrative of it is only by contributing money that constituents will vote for you next time.
Well, but we have a constituency full of people, like everybody would father or mother would die at some point. So there's a lot of burials you have to attend. So, and these are people that are going to go and gather votes for you. These are people that are going to do work. So you feel some kind of obligation, don't you think? Like,
I don't think. I think we should also find a way to help these politicians. Sometimes they know the right things to do. They know that if we use this money and settle you for your personal issues, we will not have enough money to do the job that is we're meant to do with the resources. But because they want to be voted again, they want to be kept in power. They say power, once you have a taste of power, it's very difficult to relinquish. They want to continue being there, so they give in to the detriment of the society and the community that they are serving. So I don't know if there's any way they can put it in the Constitution, somehow, just to help them, that it is against the law to give for personal, whether it's aggrandizement or personal support, and all, is against the law. If each community or each representative, they should have, because I know that they give them some allowances to run their office, they should have, from that allowances, they should have something like a welfare purse and have a body that would handle it. So if you have any need that is a need, burial is not a need. You can actually dig the ground, put the person inside, say prayers. No, hold on. No. Say prayers and go home. It is not a need. No. Nobody will crucify.
That is not a befitting burial.
If you want to befitting, use your personal funds to befit it. Nobody stopped you. But if you cannot befit it by yourself, please, do what you can. We need to start teaching people how to live within, how to live within our means and what we can afford. Do what you can afford. If you know that it's only to buy coffee you can, and they will drink mineral that day, please provide the minerals for them to drink, and everybody goes home. The bottom line is, somebody has passed. Whatever you do for that person, if you did not do it when the person was living, is a waste of money.
That's your opinion.
So, that's my personal opinion. So that welfare community or welfare system that they will set up would now help to meet the personal needs that are truly needs, because there are people who may want to do like a surgery for something, and their maybe the medical care does not cover it, and then they need support from government, they would handle it. But all this, my son is getting married, this one is graduating from school, we need your support. They should allow these politicians to do the work they are sent there to do. So they should put it in the Constitution to help them. Help the politicians and help the people. If you are caught, 2 of you will go to jail, so don't give.
Let me come to Miriam. Your thoughts on this? Well, before you speak, remember that we're Nigerians, we're Africans, we're communal, we support each other. So maybe you want to put that in context.
Why are you trying to
influence
my opinion before I speak? Anyway, I was just going to say that when they say that people deserve the government that they get, this is what we mean. And for politicians, you can see it's a dilemma. Because knowing that if I insist on doing it by the books, as politics works, there will be a day where I have to go back to the constituency and they will do by this. So you refuse to pay our school fees. You refuse to do our burial. You refuse to do this. And the constituents look at it as ingratitude for having put you in office. So I think it's a constant balancing act for politicians to see how they do it, at least for those who with some sort of integrity, to do it in a way that it doesn't affect the development of that community so much, you know. And that's why you say a lot of our politicians are so keen on what we call the stomach infrastructure, because we want what we want it now. And then those elephant projects we used to hear about, you know, which I feel like is not so much in current administration, but where they'll build these big edifices that we're not going to use, that they're just standing like an eyesore in the community. Because tomorrow, when you say you did not do something, you can point, look at that big building. That is what I did. So in the end, it comes back to us. What do we want for ourselves? The politician will only give you what you want, what you think is important. And what he has said, I've heard other politicians say that, but in the end, they would still go back to doing it the way that they've always done it, because they will have people who will advise them. In fact, some of them will threaten you, some constituents will threaten you. You'll come back in 4 years, you'll come and meet us. So you know that this is going to happen. So really, what he said is the right thing. And I wish that other politicians would, you know, sort of adopt that, so that constituents will just know for certain that there's no one else doing it anyway, so you're not going to call anyone out. And then concentrate truly on doing the work that you're meant to do. They do constituency projects, which I feel personally that, you know, they shouldn't be involved in. Executives should just do that, you know. But they do that because that's another way of making sure that their constituents would support them when the time comes. But if Nigerians keep insisting that we want these small payments, we will always have this situation. Then finally, for some politicians, it's not that they are so willing to do the big things. It's that you also know that you just want to put money aside. So it's easier to say, well, the money that was supposed to be used for my community, I use it to pay fees. Because you know in doing that, you have carried some. It's easier to hide some for yourself in that sort of scenario. But if you're doing constituency projects where you have to account for every single naira that was, that was spent, you may not do it. Then finally, we have had governors who have told us that security votes were used for burials, and we have called them out, we insulted them, how dare you? But at the time, some people were collecting it, they were praising them. So really, in the end, we deserve the kind of government that we get.
Let me take Sunday's calling from Ogiju. Oh, sorry, Luxa.
Please, to achieve what Mariam said, for there to be this unanimous front by the legislature to say that we cannot sustain this if we want democracy to work, then we would have to resort to BC solution, which is make it a constitutional thing that if you are seen giving or taking, you will be, maybe you'll be penalized. You probably would have to lose your seat.
Isn't it a better option where understanding who we are? First of all, I like it when we start from the answer to the question. We are communal. We like to support each other when these things happen. I know friends who say, I don't do Ashebi. Fast forward, their mother dies 10 years' time, they're not calling Nigeria. Wondering, I thought you didn't like the culture. That is who we are, because you can't. We beautify. We see the beauty. That's the truth, because that's who we are. We first of all I'm a foreigner, I'm educated, I don't do this kind of stuff. When your own father now dies 20 years and we see you calling and wondering, I thought I didn't do Ashebi. So I'm saying that if we do it such that there is a budget, I think that what our legislators like is transparency. How much is coming to your purse? how much is salary? How much is for constituency projects? How much would you budget for welfare? So everybody knows that every month, though, I have 20 million for welfare. You have to apply ahead. No, yes, you don't know that your dad is going to die by God's grace. But if your father unfortunately dies at the time where I'm exhausted, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, maybe we should make it more transparent.
It's a case of misplaced priority. We are, in this Nigeria that we have people funding wedding. A governor created a ministry to organize mass wedding, to organize mass matchmaking.
Yes.
Because that's the problem he's willing to solve for people. We are not going back to find out, why is there a need for a mass wedding? Why is it that the men are not able to fund wedding or be able to propose to the women? There's something wrong with this.
You're missing it.
It is this same Nigeria. We don't get dollar, we don't get dollar. We are paying for pilgrimage. Pilgrimage, according to the Islam that Nima has broken down for me several times, it is what you can afford. It is this same country that you will be using government funds to buy ram for Muslims to kill. And yet we know that in the Islam killing of ram, it is what you can afford. Christians too now started going on pilgrimage. If you calculate the money we spend on all this pilgrimage and all these things, misplaced priority. Somebody now created Ministry for Happiness and appointed the Commissioner for Happiness. So you see that we don't know what we're doing as a country.
Happiness and important ministry.
We need to be happy, my sister.
Let me take
important ministry.
Wait, I'm happy that we're going.
It's not a Nigerian thing.
We lost the call. It's because of you are talking long time. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation.
And for ministry,
stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're still discussing the demands from just Nigerians, from their leaders, and many of them having financial obligations, feeling a sense of financial obligation towards the members of the constituents. And we're talking about different angles. I think Akwa was saying earlier, the fact that, Peter was saying that maybe we should make it where there's a law that makes it transparent. And that was the view I was coming in, where it is clear. There's some companies that say, this is our budget for CSR. This is our budget for this. This is how much we have to spend. Where once people have that information, it's easy for them to say, okay, I need money for this. And once that money is exhausted for the month or for the quarter, we know we'll wait till next budget. So if our leaders are more transparent, because when people know this is how much he has, I can't keep going to him for financial obligations. What do you think?
Yeah, so you touched on culture and the way we do things,
yes,
right?
Let's respect our culture.
I also know that culture evolves. And as you're growing, as the society is evolving, you start to chip off those cultures that do not serve you. You cannot
at whose pace?
No, hold on now. At your
is
pace.
it the Lagos pace or the Abuja pace or the Taraba pace?
No, depending on the pace of the state.
So the person that is asking for wedding for his constituents, the pace they are in is where his constituent needs to get married.
Yeah,
that's the pace where he is.
At whatever pace, once you start chipping off, it will pain some people. Do you not say till everybody agrees before you chip off? Of course not. Okay. You will start. Some people will feel the pain. Some people will carry it. Some people will be upset, but they'll be all right last at the end of the day, right? Now, the government does not have to satisfy your wants and your desires. The job of the government is to give you your basic amenities, to make it conducive for you to be able to do your business. If we have that understanding as a state, then we also have an understanding that for instance, some people will say, once we here, for instance, people ask for things, right? And sometimes you give, sometimes you don't give. That's fine. But when you're getting into government office, you have chosen to come and serve, there should be a code of conduct that prohibits you from just giving out anyhow. Because whether it's your personal funds or not, we do not know, we do not care. It's coming from government. It will be seen as it's coming from government. So we must institute that code of conduct, that because this person is holding this political position, he cannot be seen to be doling out money to help you do certain things.
Okay.
And some persons, okay, go ahead.
Let me take this call. Kubra has been holding for it. Kubra is from Just. Thanks for calling. I think it's our phone line. Sorry about that.
Then also, some people also would say things like there are people that are really, really poor that they cannot even afford to buy the coffin. That's what the welfare department will now vet. You come with this requests that a parent has died and we don't have money to even buy the coffin. They will investigate, and once it's true, that can be sorted. Not that you have money to do it to a certain level, but you want to do that very big one that you will share Ashwebi of 70,000, and you want government support. We must begin to chip off the things that have not served us. The politicians spending money to satisfy different individuals because they want to come back into power, for example, has not served us, because the roads they're supposed to do.
Your father, for example,
the primary healthcare.
Calm down. Your own father is a very notable person in your community. God forbid he logs out. You want something at the right time, when plenty years to come. You want something, and even because he has impacted the community. He's not a governor, he's not a politician, but because he has impacted his community, you want something somewhat befitting.
Should I go and steal for it?
Not stealing. What you do within your own means,
That's
certainly.
all.
But members of the communities will also feel like, okay, because he has impacted our community, let's do something to support this family.
I will not beg them and get upset when they do not give. That's the difference. So if you decide to throw your support as a member of the society, that's fine.
As a governor,
so in the office because I want to see a governor.
So, Mariah, we're here. We're constantly talking about all the things that we cannot do. We're talking about the fact that there's no enough primary healthcare centers. Schools, our schools, we're seeing our children lying down on floors in schools, in communities. And then we're pushing this, pay for my burial, pay for my wedding, pay for graduation. It does not make sense. That's the truth. We've always been a people. I don't even know where this need to do a big celebratory thing is coming from. You've always, even poor people do things in a way that within their means, and they're happy and they celebrate it without having to beg someone or incur debt. And that's what we should teach our people. See, the thing is, this thing that we're talking about is not that this is a right for everybody that even lives in the community. It's for those that even have access to these people. So there are still some people who will be feeling aggrieved. It's because I don't know somebody. You know, and because it's not fair and it does not cut across everyone in the community, then honestly, it doesn't really serve anyone. Because am I politically affiliated? Do I know a family member that knows the politician that's representing me? That is the only way I can have access to that. But for someone who has greatly influenced a community, and that representative is from that community and knows, he may be able to make a contribution, you know, from the goodness of his heart, from his own personal whatever, but it's not supposed to be an expectation. It's not supposed to be a right. You are not entitled to it. And really, I think we should try as a country to push this new narrative of let's cut our coats according to our size, so that we can use money that is meant for more important things that we can all enjoy from, which is health, education. You know, those are the things that we want everybody to enjoy from.
Let me take Mukhtar. I've been holding for a minute. Good morning, Mukhtar. Are you there?
Yes,
you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you for the good work you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, this is my first time of calling.
Welcome to the show, Mukhtar.
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, my contribution to this program you are discussing now is that, you see, the government is supposed to provide good governance to the people. And the representatives of the people are those in the Reps and in the Senate. Now, if the government is providing a conducive environment for everybody to do his business or her business according to the law and then succeed, nobody will turn to be a beggar. See, the policies of the government are not favorable to the poor people, to the electorate. The policies of the government are so bad that people become poor and needy. And there is nothing they could do but to launch to the representatives.
Mukhtar, it's so difficult to hear you. I hope our viewers can hear you. I cannot hear you at all. I do apologize. It's kind of low. But you see, let me come to you in a second, but I want us to put this in proper perspective, because when we think of big weddings, 70K, I should be that, let us bring it smaller. People need help, medical bills. They'll come to the commissioner or the constituency, please, my father has kidney, we need a transplant, we need cancer. You know, these, aside from weddings and parties and burial, because burial is a major thing for us here in Africa. But the point I'm trying to make is that there are some communities that don't see things the way we see it. So the person who is having Minister of Environment, Minister of Marriage, the Ministry of Happiness, and that one who is conducting wedding.
Mass wedding.
You see in your community the need. The woman is, all this English I speak of women empowerment, and let them teach them how to do this. They're not interested.
they just want to get married. There's some communities where their entire objective in life, where they are, is I want to get married to be, and that is it. And you as the head of constituents or the House of Reps in charge, you want to help them fulfill that need, because when you do that, you have met their desire. But somebody who's looking at you from a different state is thinking, how can you just be doing mass wedding? Because you don't understand that community more than he does. So I don't want us to look at it through this lens of, oh, these politicians are just giving out money. Some communities, that just giving them that welfare access is all they need. Pay my children's school fees, pay our medical bills, even though it is your job to fix the hospitals for them. But their own, for what you have done for them, what's going to get you their vote, is the fact that you paid their child's school fees. Okay, in their own thinking. Now, how do we need to change that? How do we flip that as a people? Or should we even flip it?
So we understand what you just said there. That's what I've done for the past 23 years of 22 to 23 years of democracy. We have done stomach infrastructure. We have met the people at the level where they are, giving them what they need, and it hasn't brought us the development we need. We are solving the problem for the few people who are close to the politicians and those who seem to be within the political structure. But we're not solving for the majority. It's just for the minority. So everybody is now struggling to get close to the governor. That's why we have Messiah complex. Once somebody aspires, everybody will sit down there and they're waiting for the hand-me-down that comes in. That can't solve our long-term problem. It's a chicken and egg thing. Yeah. Do you want the chicken before you have the egg, or do you want the egg before you have the chicken? And it requires, whichever decision they make, it will be tough for everybody to handle at the beginning. But the real thing is thinking long-term. We must stop this idea of taking care of the basic needs while not thinking of the long-term needs. We must start planting the trees than eating up all the fruits. And it will be a bit difficult for us. So we want to pay the bills for a few people that want to do kidney transplants. Why don't we ensure that people will not have to be looking for money to do kidney transplants? Why don't we ensure that health insurance is available for all? You know, so those things, it will be like I'm making a huge sacrifice now, but your children will get the benefit of it, because right now, we're all going to private schools because they know.
You know that, but the Constitution doesn't know that.
But when they know, when people realize that, you know, for now, everybody feels that it is by taking care of people's needs that I get voted into power. By the time we all, like the suggestion, it makes it constitutional. We are not, you cannot afford to continue this system. We can't. It will not work. So if we make it illegal to give those funds, then we can now start redirecting. When you Google what the legislature are meant to do itself, how many of the legislators have time to do what they are really meant to do, what their real responsibility is? They can't do it. They are busy looking for how to get money so that they can remain.
You know, the thing is that you think, oh,
Mariam, these are much... I really need to take this call. Omokwe, I'll come to you. Omokwe, are you there? Go ahead, please. You're live. Omokwe. I think there's something wrong with problem. Go ahead, Mary.
Yes. So I was going to say, you know, the danger of this is that you now create a culture. That first of all, you're looking at how much is it I'm paying them at the grassroots self to do the burial, to do. If I put it all together, it does not mean any. It's not that much of a big deal. I'll put it there. But you've created a culture where people expect that this is what they'll get. So when they go higher, they'll ask for bigger things. That is why someone, when he hears that his family member is now a senator, will try and go there and try and find out how he can get jobs, even if he's not qualified for, because he feels that somehow he's put you there and somehow you owe him and somehow he's entitled. So they're going to even do bigger payouts at, you know, at higher levels. So that's the thing, is the culture, is the mindset we need to change. No matter how little, it will lead to something much bigger. And if we do not understand that, what is most important is to put in place infrastructure that everyone can have access to and everyone can enjoy, then we'll constantly be struggling with, he's not doing a lot for us. What is it that he has even brought? The government says they are doing this. No, we don't appreciate what we don't see this big projects as this big infrastructure of facilities as something that we own, that's done for us, that is done for our development, until someone hands us, you know, hands us something. What do you call it? You know, gives you a handout, and you expect a bigger handout when you get up there. So we need to just change this culture, this mindset completely.
Let me take Sandra from Abuja.
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my contribution to the topic. Before government is demanded to contribute to burial, let's assume they are not meeting the obligation. How do our old parents, how do they bury? Let's be frank. If you are popular in your community, in my own environment, the whole community or relations, we bring yam, bring apple, bring gari, bring oil. Must the government, have they done the really thing they're supposed to do to me and you as a citizen, their major work? Then you now leave your responsibility if somebody dies. Then they will not do anything. You know how people die in Nigeria in the family. So it means they will just keep on burying people. I don't think it's the best. That shouldn't even be a topic, but it's good that you're exposing the topic. It's very good. You've always been a good one.
Thank you very much. You see, we all celebrated how Bawa, we saw how Bawa was celebrated when he came back home. And we are assuming the reason why he got that, because he's a young guy. How many years did he do EFCC chairmanship? It was not 3 years. This man was celebrated. Now, we're assuming it's probably because they are proud that he's one of their own. Maybe he probably gave back to his community. Maybe he paid a lot of school fees. Maybe he sent many people to school, paid for burials, did for wedding parties. He was probably there for them. So when he got back, they were really happy to receive him. Now, that is the politician's dream, for you to be welcoming back in your home. So how, therefore, do we find a middle ground where you are still there for your people, yet you are still there for they're still there to do your job. You still do your job properly. The primary duty you're supposed to do, you do it, yet people can still pin one or two things that, yes, he did this for us personally.
You are there for the majority and not for a few people. What we see is being there for a few people who have access, who have established that before. Okay. And it's not working for our society. It's not working for the community. Because the funds that are supposed to be used for the majority of the people is now used for just a few people who have access. And we're saying this can no longer work. You're not there to give personal help at some level. You are there for a holistic development. And that's where the focus should be on. Fine, if you say, my people have a need, like this, there's nothing wrong with this mass marriage that is happening in that particular state. It's meeting a need. Right now, the government is not spending money to 50 billion here, 50 billion here for different weddings. They are doing it together. Probably they are sewing one ashwebi for everybody. It's cost effective. So they are saving money and also helping people to get in. So those are ways to solve the issues. We have people who are hungry in different places. Get a soup shelter for them, food shelter. When you're hungry, you go queue, you get your food, and you go. There are people who are homeless, you get a shelter for them where they go register, and they sleep, and they go. We are finding ways to solve the problem at a larger scope, not just for you to give a few people who have access to you. Right. That's what we're saying. Okay. And it should be against the law to do so. If you're going to be in office, you must be willing to sacrifice that praise you are looking for when you get back home at the end of the day. Okay. We're not sent there to collect praise, we're sent there to work. So work and let your work speak for you.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue and take a few more phone calls. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us as we are trying to get some comments on social media. You know, when we have this kind of conversation, I remember our current President Tinubu, he's trying to do what he can to fix the economy, to fix Nigeria in a whole. And Nigerians are impatient. We don't want the real work. We just want him to wake up one morning and say, okay, all students, free education. You know, the same way we just take our politicians. Give me, give me, give me. I'm the person that led votes for this community. Do this for me. We all want the president to wake up tomorrow morning. Okay, you know what? All business owners take $10 million each. Okay, tomorrow morning, then all university students go to, you know, we just want him to wake up one morning and start dishing out gifts. That's what Nigerians want. For them, that is change. And the same thing we demand of these constituency leaders or these representatives or these are commissioners. Just give us the real work of building infrastructure. Oh, I want to take this money to build this, to build hospital, to increase it. All that one is too much grammar. To them, the government is not doing anything until they dish out. So that is our mentality. So we are seeing it, and we are all here collectively arguing against it. I mean, we're complaining about it in the federal government level. But we all do it in the smaller scale, in different ways. Somehow, we all just want somebody just to manage things. So is it a problem of the constituents, or is it a Nigerian problem?
It's the constituents now, which are Nigerians. Oh, it's in Nigeria.
I
understand. Everybody joined, but it's because we have sown the seed. And now is
so who's going to unsold?
All of us we are going to the way we started
surgery this president is doing that we are now that dollar is now 1,800 300 naira and we are all still every day condemning the. Are we ready for the work? Because the truth is that for that representative to say I'm not going to give you money for your father's burial, I'd rather put that money towards something. They will not like him.
They may, yes, they
might even not vote him in.
Yes.
But if something he has to do, it's the same thing our president is trying to do. I'm like, this guy is not, a dollar is 1,300 naira.
So what this man has done is he's told them what he's going to do. And you're right, many people may not like him, but the people who will make a difference, who can make sure that this is something that is instituted and is part of their culture going forward, are still the constituents. So hopefully he will have more of the people that think like him, who are able to, galvanize votes when the time comes. And then in the interim, while he's refusing to pay for little things like this, they can see that where work is needed, that he has done the work. And then they'll understand and come to appreciate the importance of having infrastructural facilities on ground over tiny stipends. So that is where we're hoping that we'll go. You also, before the break, you had brought in Abdulrashid Bawa. So these are still allegations because he hasn't yet been convicted. But the story is that he may have used his power and his office to acquire wealth that, and then somehow invested in his community. And that's why he got the sort of welcome back that he did. And even though that may seem like a positive for him, it's at whose cost? Whose money did he take? All that money that he took, was that how it was meant to be spent? And of all the money that he took, allegedly, how much of it did he really give back to community and how much did he keep in his own house, in his pocket? So the truth is, there's no good side to doing it that way. It's always a bad thing. When we had, who was it that came back from America, from the UK, who had been locked up for all sorts of corruption, yes, and he was welcomed back like that as well. Those of us that were not from Delta States were looking at people from Delta States like, look at you. Then when your own state happens, then everybody, Bayelsa State, when it happened to them too, look at you. So you're right, we're all the same, but we need to change because it doesn't serve us at all.
Let me take Ishola, then I'll come to you, BC. Ishola, thanks for holding. Good morning, Ishola, you're live. Hello? Go ahead, BC.
So the primary purpose and responsibility of every government is to protect the lives of a citizen and their properties. And sometimes you would have to protect your people against their will because you, the government, should know better. Sometimes the people will revolt when you want to bring a new change. But sitting where you are, the reason you are a leader is because you know better. You should be able to say, I know this will pinch you, but I'm going ahead to do it. And not care whether they like you at the end of the day or not. There's nothing wrong with a few governments not being voted back into office. And they say, it's fine. If that is what you people want, I can't do this, and I'm okay. I've served the 4 years, and I'm good. Must you die there? That's the question. Must you serve for 15 terms before you have made impact? It's okay. What we need is government officials that are ready to have that political will to say, we must change this country. Once you get me there, I may be tough, you may not like me, but this and this and this is the way to go. And they cite examples of how it's been done in other places that we admire. We love those places, but they don't do handouts the way we do here. They are not as entitled as we are here. What they hold government accountable for is the basic amenities. And once they have it, everybody has the capacity to go and make their own money. Just give them what they need. And that is, sometimes they think that what they need is that handout, that fish. Just give it to me now. Let me eat, feed my children, and I'm good. We are not thinking collectively, and it's the government's job to help us think collectively, enforce it, whether we like it or not, till we get to that place where we begin to appreciate it. So this House of Reps member now who is complaining, if he has, for instance, decides to have that conversation with a few of them like him, and they say, okay, we will vote you out. Vote me out, the next person will still not do it. Let me see how many people you will vote out at the end of the day.
Let me take this call. They take a few comments on social media. Good morning from Owode. You're live.
I don't have
Good
morning, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. The truth is that most of these lawmakers, they are bereft of ideas. They don't even know what to do with their constituents. I will tell you, in our own constituent in Ondo State, Ilage and the federal constituency, For the past 15 years, there is no light. For the past, since the days of governors that in Ondo State, Ilaje and Esnel, the local government, has never enjoyed life for 1 day since 2008. Let me tell you this, man. I was watching this guy from Surulere in your studio before the election. What's his name? Desmond Elliott. I was telling you guys how he facilitated a lot of transformers in this constituent. And then he facilitated the reconstruction of animal farm roads that link towards Orilo Doing and some of the area, some of the environment. Some of these lawmakers, from what the Desmond have said, show that some of them actually understand what it is to represent their people effectively. But majority of them, especially those ones at the Federal House of Representatives, they lack understanding. The only thing they think they can do to empower their youth is to buy bicycle, Okada, and Keke Napep, and buy driving machine for the market women. These are not effective representative palliatives. If you have something to do, if you don't have anything to do, why are you calling out to go say you want to represent your people in the House of Representatives? The controversy around that is funny.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Omokwe. Let me take a few comments on social. Mr. Otumba Karim says, we create problems for our leaders in most cases. When the demand from constituents is much, accountability and transparency is compromised. If politicians are to cater for personal needs of constituents, then holding the politician to give account of stewardship becomes an issue. If mouth don't chop, I go shame. And then we have another comment here. Any other one from you guys?
So Oluwaseun today says, followership in Nigeria is a joke too. Followership is a form of leadership. If you cannot lead yourself as an individual, you won't be a good leader. Another person says, tell Nigerians you're giving out knowledge. See how many will turn up. But say you're giving out food, people go plenty. So that's one of our problem. I wanted to just say something. A parent, children will say they want the sweet things. They want chocolate. They want what they want. I want sweets. I want chocolate. My 7-year-old son, when he was 6, said he knows how to drive. He has watched us. He knows what to press at all the time. Because I love my children so much, I allow them to drive and they have an accident, or I give them all the chocolates they want and then they have tummy pain.
You can't vote out your parents. You're stuck with them for life.
So it's not about that. So if I'm putting that I want my children to love me and I will give them what they want, they might not be voting me out, but they might not love me because at the point in time, I'm not giving them what they want. Our politicians want to be loved by the people. So because I want you to love me, I'll give you what you want. But
not what you need.
But what you want would hurt you. What you want would hurt other people. That's where we are right now. We need politicians that understand what we want, what we need, as opposed to what we are saying we want. We want money, but what we need is how to make money. So don't give us the money. Create a structure that will enable us make money. It will not be sweet. We will not like you in the moment. But after a while, we'll not say,
tell that to the Iyaloja's
we
mother.
Remember Jack Conde and say, Jack Conde gave us housing. We did not know that time.
But there's some who also criticize Jack Conde. So they criticize him. Go ahead, Mariam.
Okay, so I think maybe to be realistic, even though I do like your analogy, I don't know if it really works with politicians because it's really about your votes. They just want to come back in and then the only way they can come back to make whatever, to make the impact is if you vote them in. So the thing is, like I said in the very beginning when we started having this conversation, is I think the best politicians try to balance it, see how they can still give what's important whilst also handing out the chocolates or sweets, using your analogy, you know. So, yes, I want my children to eat healthy, but I know that they will get cranky a bit, so I'll give them a little sweets here and there. So we just need that, that balance. But also, we need to start talking to Nigerians. Let them also understand that they determine what they get. It is about them. If you don't get schools, if you don't get healthcare, if you don't, that's your problem. If you have little money in your hands and you're throwing parties and you're wearing a shebe and you're doing burials, that is what you've asked for and that is your problem. So when we call your representatives in 4 years' time and we're asking them questions, don't be asking them, where's the primary healthcare center? Where are the classrooms? Because until you chopped it, you did, you did birthday with it, you know? So so you need to understand also that there's a cost to you, whatever it is that you end up with.
Somebody was telling me, was giving me that they went to, they're looking for money for something, and they went to a politician, and he gave them a certain amount. And the person reluctantly, he didn't have this money. He didn't want to give them this money, but because of many people calling, begging and begging and begging, he now gave them the money. Family said,
how much?
How much he won't give us.
Imagine.
Only they know, how
heard,
hard it was for that person to find them.
You know we have heard that.
Say that imagine after all the see how much he sent to us.
They say he's the something of something. See how much he sent. We've heard this.
And the ones that after tenure they go back home without luxury. They'll say
after 8 years.
Old. Yeah. And not even build house.
Yes.
Hey.
Could not even do this. Societal problem.
Have you seen family members that call out their family members?
Yes.
Not do. Please do that. Pocket your integrity.
Yeah,
what is it? What integrity? Please throw it away.
Exactly. Because I've had those conversations. What was it feeling like? After 8 years, can we see it? What is it?
That is why the government must help them to enforce. See, the government does not owe you your wants and your desires. If you want it that bad, go get it. If you desire it that bad, go work for it. But your needs, the government will help you to give a footing so that you can balance and satisfy what you are meant to be doing. However, anybody who comes home and they're asking you, come and you did not do this, you did not do that, tell them I went there to work and that's all I did.
We have to wrap up. Let me just end up with engineer Ajibola Tijani's PhD's comment. He said that this issue raised has been a cultural theme for years. Once you see an individual appointed to any position, their kinsmen celebrate such appointment, not because they are sure of the appointee's capability, but because they have a representative in government. So whatever such person does in the office must be able to support them. Okay, let's go to a break. We have to wrap up. But I think in a nutshell, what we're saying is that it's two-sided, really. The House of Representatives member also has an obligation to his constituents to actually bring the dividends of democracy to his people, not to individuals who are close to him, but to the community at large. And we as a people need to also stop demanding and requesting of our politicians to give us things. You know, we should understand that they are there to work. I've shared this story many times where I know a politician where he was so excited to work. And he said that, oh, they look at the purse. They had that month, they had 37 million in his small constituency to spend. He thought that they were going to come and work. And then out of the 37 million, 35 was for salary meat.
Imagine.
They're doing a salary meat. We all collect now. We know part of it. See their faces. Are we doing we all collect?
We all collect
during salary.
But the whole state did not get the ram.
What I'm saying is, different people get salary meat.
Not me.
I didn't get
what I'm saying, Nigerians, everybody who get salary.
Not everybody got it.
Exactly. Not everybody got it. Constituency that got it. People that have access to
what
the
I am saying is that the man himself, he was personally disappointed that 99.9% of the money was because of.
Did they force him?
No.
He was disappointing him. He chose to give salami.
People that he gave the goat meat or ram meat, did they put a
come
goat
to ask him? He chose that because he wanted love.
Okay, let us wrap up on this matter. That is all we can take. I thought I could end with this.
No, you cannot.
We'll be right back with our next segment. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So this next segment is about the Supreme Court last week, where they dismissed the separate appeals filed by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of the PDP and his Labour Party counterpart, Mr. Peter Obi, against the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying it lacked merit. And we know Nigerians have talked about this on different platforms, but until your view talks about it, we know nobody's really heard about it. So we have with us right now Barrister Kabir Akingbelu, who will be shedding more light on this. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure for having me. Good morning.
So, I mean, we know everybody has read and overread the 7 key issues that the court highlighted. Number one, first of all, that the INEC substantially complied with the Electoral Act 2022. We know that. Also said that the election cannot be nullified due to unavailability of results on INEC's IREV portal, failure to secure the 25% of votes in the FCT, Abuja cannot be invalidate a winner's election, and so many others. I can even allow the ladies to read the others. If you have any other, the issue of APC's double nomination of Shatim Ketima Kasim Shettima had earlier been decided by the court and so many others. So we know the grounds on which the Supreme Court made its judgments. However, the issue Nigerians are having is they feel that the article's press briefing afterwards, saying that they will be looking to go to the international courts. Is that right? Or what are your thoughts on that? Do they have a case? Thank you, Mark.
Well, it will be unprecedented because just like in the case of Brown Allen, in 1953 decision where Justice Robert Jackson said that the Supreme Court is talking about the Supreme Court of America, that we are final. We are not final because we're infallible. We're infallible because we are final. And that dictum of Justice Robert has been, had been adapted in the case of Adegoke Motors in the Supreme Court here as ours. Now, what we are saying, whether anybody likes it or not, whatever I feel does not matter. Whatever anybody feels does not matter. What matters is that the final court has spoken and they have rested the case concerning the presidential election. So be it. There is nothing we can do because we don't have any country that we can call our own. Let us leave the issue of sentiments and emotions and all that. Now, under international law, the country, the court of another country cannot decide for another country. So we have our Supreme Court, which is the final port of call. Although we have the ECOWAS court, but mostly they take fundamental right cases and with a very limited jurisdiction, not in all cases. So I think the way we are, there is nothing anybody can do. And I would have expected Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Obi, and the rest of them to allow, to just believe that it has come and it has gone. Tomorrow may be their day, and who knows? It can still come. So this is the thing they should have done, because if you look at the two of them, Atiku Abubakar himself, the issue is raising now. Although some of our colleagues, the lawyers, the senior advocates, some of them are guilty here. The issue Atiku is challenging, or Daobi is challenging, about double nomination of Shettima. Atiku won election in 1999 as the governor of Adamawa State. He has even won, remaining to be sworn in. Then he was nominated as the vice presidential candidate. Nobody raised issues against him. Then he became the vice president. At that time, judiciary was the best, the last group of a common man. In 2007 or thereabout, Obasanjo sacked him and said he's no longer the vice president of Nigeria because he joined the Action Congress of Nigeria then. And the Supreme Court came heavily on the president and said, no, you can't do that to a vice president because the procedures have not been followed. Obi was, they removed Ngige for him to become governor. And at the time he became governor, Ngige had served about 2.5 years or thereabout. He was brought back to power. After spending 1.5 years, he went to court. He saw president in the history of Nigeria. Once you are sworn in, they believe that the other man has spent your tenure. You can't elongate it. He went to the Supreme Court. He got judgment. They elongated this thing and said, his tenure. Yeah. Started from the day he took oath of office. At that time, go and look at their press briefing and all that. The judiciary was the last one to come out. But now, why is it different now? And lastly, when the judgment was passed in Osun State, giving victory to the PDP, Atiku, almost, celebrated it like nothing. That, this is the best judgment and all what. Now, but when it's against their party, now it's something else. So I think it is not fair.
Okay, so I have this question, because you opened my mind to it last time you were here. Do this, maybe they feel obligated to pursue it to, because of the parties and because of their supporters? Is it like a show of, we are a serious party, we're here to stay, so that you can keep your supporters until the next election?
I think maybe you were reading my mind like an angel. The issue is this. Some of them got crowdfunding. Allegedly, you understand? So in order to impress some people who donated $1,000, $500, $3, $5, $10 across the globe, you will have to justify it. If you just finish at the Court of Appeal and you are not going further, they believe you are not doing the thing. And in Nigeria, I think we should still allow this thing to be that, well, you should know in every contest somebody must win. and somebody must lose. So the lawyers too, we must be, we must be frank enough to tell them that we have no case, you have no case, let's not push it further and so on and so forth.
All right, let me pause you for a second because I have breaking news now. So here, the Rivers State House of Assembly complex in Port Harcourt is currently a chaotic scene with tear gas canisters puncturing the humid morning air. The fury comes amid rumors of attempts to impeach Governor Fubara of the state. Earlier, a fire had gutted a section of the assembly complex and the main chamber. We will be discussing more on this show tomorrow as it unfolds. We're going to be watching all the clips right now. We'll see more of that, and we'll show before the end of the day more of it will unfold. We just had to inform our viewers of the breaking news right now that is ongoing. We'll come back to the studio. Yes.
Yes. So, you know, we sort of predicted this the last time you were here to break down the petitions, and you broke it down very well to the fact that laymen understood what you were saying. And it seemed like there was no case, so I wasn't surprised with the outcome of the results. However, what would you suggest to the opposing factions? What sort of advice do you think would be better for them to take? Because I understand that aside from the fact that they want to live up to that expectation of the people who have supported them, would it be wise to still continue chasing this, knowing all the facts on ground?
No, it would be it not only be an injustice to their people, it would be an injustice to the nation, because you are distracting the government now, because the final court has spoken now. Anything you do now is distraction, and they will not be fair to the system. They have all benefited from the magnanimity and benevolence of the judiciary, given, under the rule of law. And the rule of law is here. They have interpreted the law to be what it is. And again, we must learn something. Emotion and sentiment has no place in judicial discourse. All those social media cutting, newspaper cutting and all that, all those protests, all those things on and all that, it doesn't move the judges of the Supreme Justice of the courts, because they deal with hard facts. If you, it's a classical case of as you lay your bed, you lie on it. If you have not, come to court with a strong case, there is no how. In 1983, Chief Obama refused to go to court. Not because he didn't want to go. He said the 30 days limited for filing election petition was not enough for me to file an iron cast case. That's what he said. The 21 days window allowed for filing petition, I want to say, is too limited for somebody to do any meaningful thing. You want to cover 176,300 something polling units in Nigeria. How many lawyers do you want to, engage to do that for you? So it's garbage in, garbage out. And in the case of, I think Buhari and INEC, and Obasanjo, it's in part 1041 of the Nigeria Weekly. Pastor Cholo of blessed memory said, for anybody to win a presidential election petition in Nigeria, it needs not less than 2,500 witnesses. Okay. So, what do you need? In a situation whereby somebody is coming with 13 witnesses to prove a thing against the whole country, somebody is coming with 27. What do you want them to do? Let's assume they even nullify all those 13 polling units or 27 polling units. Yes, nobody is a Professor Pella who can see anything, or God who can see anything. You are here, you are saying what is in Ekiti or in London. You understand?
All right, let me come to talk about it.
So, based on what you have said, it is a bit, it's as if we are having lawyers who are giving confidence to a case that they know is not, there's no merit to the case.
Exactly.
Is it possible for us to create a system where the lawyers get penalized for taking the time of our government? Because one, we're wasting resources of our courts. We have a lot of other things that these our judges need to focus their attention on. Rather than doing that, they are spending time in court trying to prove a case where even you, the lawyer, don't know that you don't have enough evidence to back up what you're saying. The judgment makes it look like the lawyers, these are sons, they are getting paid a lot of money. How do we ensure that the system does not just profit a few lawyers and then puts a lot of difficulty and costs on our government?
Okay. Well, you see, people don't know that lawyers could be disciplined. You understand? People don't know. It lies on their client to now say, you advised me wrongly, and they will get good outcome. You understand? But nobody will have the right to say, oh, Mr. A has hired lawyer C, and lawyer C didn't do it. It's only that client that can complain. So if the client didn't complain, there's nothing anybody can do. Government cannot do that. You understand? Because that relationship is between him and his client. It's for his client to know, you should have advised me properly before I start this. Because before I started it. Because if you look at the fresh evidence they are trying to, everybody knows, all the lawyers there know at least 90-something%, you are sure that it cannot be allowed.
So, please, from your own point of view, based on the case that was put forward, if you feel the lawyers knew that the case did not have strong enough merit and yet they went to the court, is it that our aspirants did not have the information, or our aspirants are just hoping that by sentiment they could win? Or should we now start saying that the aspirants should start holding the lawyers accountable, that if you can't guarantee me justice, we're not going to go through this?
Politicians are die-hard optimists. You understand? But it's now, as a lawyer, for you to tell them, this is not it. Because, and again, they are not lawyers. In the case of Buhari and Obasanjo, I can remember, no, in the case of Buhari and Yaradua, we raised one point then, I was part of that team. We raised a point that all the witness depositions that were supposed to be done in court were done before a lawyer to Atiku. And to Buhari, they did it before the lawyer himself. And the law says no affidavit or evidence can be used in court which is prepared before a lawyer who is appearing in the matter. But the lawyer fell victim of that. All the witness deposition of Buhari, they were thrown off, remaining about 3 and 4. You understand? So, at the end of the day, we raise it that Buhari should have known, in our argument, that Buhari, being a past president and a general, should have known that this is not proper. Nikitobi said, no, I part way with the lawyers to the respondent on this ground. That because the man, Buhari, knew his limited knowledge in law and he has hired a lawyer. You know, a senior advocate for that matter. So, for that reason, if they are not lawyers...
All right, let me come in this angle because, you know, my father was a lawyer, and I know the weight he used to put on the Supreme Court justices, you know, the sanctity, the sacredness of that stool of the Supreme Court. And I saw how in recent times they were spoken to in disparaging terms, you know, like even the young generation, the way they talk about the Supreme Court justices, it was like, and I'm thinking, this is like the highest level of any nation. As a lawyer, and as your own experience, how did it make you feel this season, the way the Supreme Court was held? But Nigerians didn't even care. They were just talking about them anyhow.
Exactly. It's because the Supreme Court itself need to, you know, they need a searchlight to do some introspection and to also know when child, let us do things rightly. You understand? Whatever, we are not saying they are not doing the right thing, but then when people do all this, they have the right to punish them. The court should take up people and jail them, for goodness sake, because, no, let me tell you, if we don't do that, it's just like social media. I've been one of the advocates that it should be regulated. Now, in the situation where somebody will just sit down somewhere and then black market order, black market injunction. I've seen a governor that was called the governor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. You understand, all these things are not good. They are called the contempt of court. So if you are denigrating the highest court of the land, then we are in trouble, because whether we like it or not, that is the only court that we have. It has happened in America once, in the case of O.J. Simpson. The president had to come and say, no, whatever you feel, this is the highest court of the land. I think people should be educated. People should be brought to book. Question people that are denigrating the names of the court and dragging it in the mud.
Sorry, one more question for you, because I know the lady wants to jump in here. Concerning, what are the lessons? Like, because 2027 is around the corner. Yeah. And the elections are going to come again. What should the opposition's lawyers, or during elections, what must they do to ensure that if they're going to come to court at all, they must have, what have we learned from this? What are the loopholes that to prepare themselves for bringing the case to court next time?
That's like the final question. Yes. Because before we go to that, I wanted to ask concerning, there was a judgment that I took on the show where the judge, after giving the judgment, called out the lawyers and the people that came to media that how come we're having lawyers such as you, coming to media to talk about cases in court, that we should stop doing that. Do you feel like we should start punishing lawyers who come on in the media to discuss cases that are still in court.
Exactly. In fact, it is not permitted under the law. They call it principle of least pendent light. When a matter is in court, you don't say it will succeed or it will not succeed. You understand? So leave it. At the time the Court of Appeal gave its judgment, you can pass your comment because that is the judgment of the court. But immediately they file the appeal at the Supreme Court, you have to keep mum until the judgment comes out. So nobody's permitted. I think the court should start punishing lawyers for this. It has happened before. Some senior lawyers were fined 30 million naira for filing cases. You understand? In the case of Didi. You understand? So the court said, the lawyers of your standard, why should you do this? They fine them 30 million, each of them. So when they start, and I've been in Supreme Court recently, some lawyers who file some cases, they will just say, okay, you are a lawyer, will you withdraw this appeal now, or we do they should wield the stick more and punish lawyers for this than there could be peace. Yeah, because they will say that cost must be paid personally by you, not by your client.
Okay, answer your question now.
Okay, yes.
That's my question concerning what should... Lessons learned. How do you build a proper case that you can take to their presidential...
I think the time limited for filing petitions should be extended. If we really want to say that we should be filing election petition, or we could say they shouldn't file election petition at all. Because in a situation whereby you want INEC to come and give evidence, even before you start meeting them to get the documents you will use, the 21 days had lapsed. Sometimes you don't even get the hard copy of the judgment or of the result until about 1 or 2 weeks after addressing press and blackmailing them, and INEC should conduct a free election, a fair election. It may not be free from some absurdities, but at least something that could be seen to have been better. Then any rule that you are not going to use, don't put it in your rules. Like the issue of IREP. If you know you are not going to use, don't put it there at all. Those are avoidable confusions or avoidable arguments and condemnation. And government should also, empower INEC to be truly independent in the right sense of it.
Fantastic. Yes, okay, so as a layman, just listen. I would say, are you saying that truly lawyers should not be trusted? Because everything you have explained to me is like it's either they are playing their clients or they are deliberately just in contempt of court. So really, who is a lawyer of integrity? Or do they even have, is that an important quality for them?
Lawyers have integrity, you can see. But I would have expected by the time they went to Court of Appeal, and they may not know the truth at that time, but when the Court of Appeal has given its judgment, that judgment was scientific. It was analytical. Even to a layman, he will understand it. You brought a report from UK. We don't know the person who prepared the report, the circumstances he did it, you don't know. Who is tendering it? How many people did you interview? How many states did you visit before you made the report? And you want to tender it. You have gone to America to get something from the university there. We don't know who signed it. The person who signed it is not coming before the court to give evidence. You have 180 days to hear your election petition at the trial court. You finish the 180 days, you didn't tender it. You are bringing it at the Supreme Court, which is acting at the appellate court. Now, how will they be able to cross-examine anybody who has made that? We know it's not possible. At the Court of Appeal level, you could come out and say, well, that is that case. We have done a good thing. Leave it. If he now says, let us try, so the public will know that he wants to try.
Are lawyers just incompetent then?
They are competent, but sometimes they allow their client to overpower them, to dictate to them. Yes, it's not that the lawyers will not tell them the strength, but sometimes you have to stand for principle that, okay, if you want to go and get another lawyer, I am not going to do it. So that principle is what lawyers should do.
Okay.
They will not eat plenty.
Well, some of them are good. They may not be collecting money.
Yeah. Thank you. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
So all these cases, they're stored in your head somewhere.
Yes, I have the gift. I have the gift. They call me authority.
I mean, like, you just dig it out. Like,
just calling it forth.
Next, talk to me about River State.
Do you know what's going on in River State?
Yes, I do. Sometimes, a succession plan by the the outgoing governor. Sometimes I wonder why it is so. You know, succession plan, you want to go, you have spent 8 years, you have spent 4 years. You want the person that will succeed you to be one of your boys. Unfortunately, they miscalculate. You may not know the heart of man. Even the devil does not know the heart of man, like Mark Shakespeare said. Now, if you look at it that way, you think, oh, this is my most trusted man. It has happened in Zamfara. It has happened in Abia. In fact, the governor that's already there, the governor in Abia, he withdrew the university certificate issued to him by the state university. So these are the things. You understand? But what they demand from their successors, they are too much that the successor cannot bear.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That is all we can take on the show today. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.